The deal with Def Jam was an artist deal for Breeze. And if I'm not mistaken, Breeze was either 16 or 17. He wasn't old enough to sign a recording contract, although he did. And Russell said, I'll take it to court and get the approval. I'm sure he didn't. But he signed Breeze to a deal. And you know, let's want to go back to LA when we were at the BRE. I can't remember the exactly the day that it happened. Dwayne will tell you the exact day, and maybe Breeze will also. But when he decided that we were going, we had no idea that he meant that week. He told Gary Harris, call Heidi, have them get them tickets, get them a hotel room, and you guys will be in New York by Friday. We were like, damn, we ain't even talked to our parents yet. And I think I was about 21 or 22. I actually thought, I didn't even ask my dad, could I go? You know what I'm saying? You know, so it was crazy, man. It was crazy. Breeze was signed to Def Jam for about, I'd say, 2.5 years. And there is a lot of music recorded on Breeze. I'd say, I don't want to exaggerate, but I'd say about maybe 200-300 songs. And see, they brought Breeze in because they needed to put some fire under LL. You know what I mean? LL was and still is very, 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 very dominant and cocky and confident. And I'm not saying cocky as in a bad way, but he knew he was bad. And anybody, if you wanted to battle on records, in the park or whatever, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? And that aggressiveness led some people to believe that his cockiness was arrogance. So Russell and Rick and them was filming a movie called Tougher Than Leather. And LL was anxious to get back in the studio off the success of the radio album, which sold about 750,000 copies. That's a lot of records, especially for an independent label. So they bring Breeze in, and it's the talk of Def Jam. The Beastie Boys was still there. When we got to New York, Leor and Russell let me and Breeze fly out to Washington D.C. to pick up on I think it was the Raising Hell tour or whatever. And we got to ride on the tour bus with Houdini and the Beastie Boys. And we were nervous and scared and didn't know anybody, but we wanted to see what it was like. We wanted to experience the movement. And so it was a Breeze signing for an album deal where a single never was released. Never. I never released a single. It's not because Russell didn't believe. Russell believed, but there were other people at the label who didn't. And everything at that time in rap music was so New York driven that anything that didn't sound like New York music, they were afraid to take a chance with. You know, right now everyone knows that music is subjective and people like this, people like that, so it's something for everybody. But Breeze had hits, and they never came out. It was recorded at Chung King Studios, the infamous Chung King House of Metal. Peace out to John King, peace out to Steve-Ette, rest in peace. Steve-Ette was the sound of all of those songs back in the day, all that music from Run DMC to LL to Beasties, you know, he and Rick Rubin, amazing guy. So those reels were in the Chung King Studios, and I believe they're in the Def Jam vault, probably sitting somewhere at Universal Music right now. We would just love to get them so that we can get to the half-inch reel so that we can get a copy of all of that music so that we could just listen to it, man. It's amazing. You don't understand the time and effort that goes into creating music. You spend endless hours in the studio trying to make something that millions of people will appreciate and like. And we would like to just reflect and go back and see where our heads were in terms of what we were making, you know, and what our motivation was. It was a lot of weed, it was a lot of 40 ounces, you know, and we're being creative. Man, you know what? First of all, I want to give you props, because you are on your game. You are on your game. People don't know this shit. And we have to explain this to people. You know what I'm saying? They think that hip hop blew up in New York when NWA came out and stuff. And I love NWA. I used to work for Dr. Dre. You know what I'm saying? That's my dude. Those is my dudes. But guess what? Before any of that happened, we was in New York DJing and playing NWA records to New York, and people were looking at us like, what the fuck are you doing? What is this? But again, it's what we did. To answer your question, I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna answer this a couple of ways. When we went to when we went to New York, we were not the LA Posse. We were Daryl and Dwayne, them LA niggas. We dressed different, we talked different. New York people thought we was country. Then we started getting into the element of New York. Before you know it, we looked like New Yorkers. We were talking like New Yorkers. We dressed like New Yorkers. And our buddies from LA hated it. We lived there. They would go back home to LA. I was riding in the car on the West Side Highway. I think it was the West Side Highway, and asked Breeze about this too, because Breeze was in the car with me. And we were with Jam Master Jay, rest in peace. Jay was our dude, okay? In fact, when Jay found out we were in New York, he was pissed because we didn't call him and let him know. We were there for 6 months before we saw Jason. Long story short, I was a little depressed. He was like, Daryl, what's wrong? It's like, man, this whole industry shit, you know, the Daryl and Dwayne thing, whoppity-wop. He was like, man, you know what? You guys don't have any identity. I didn't understand what he was talking about. He said, you know, you're not like, you're a crew of guys, but you don't have any identity, no name, no, like the LA crew or like the LA Posse. I said, what did you say? He said, the LA Posse. I said, we're the LA Posse. That's who we are, the LA Posse. And Breeze said, what about me? It was like, you're Breeze and you're with the LA Posse, but we're the LA Posse. So we got back to the crib in Brooklyn, and I went upstairs, I said, Muff, we're the LA Posse. We're the LA Posse. And I promise you, the next day, when we went to Def Jam and we walked in and said, we're the LA Posse, it stuck, it never went away, and that's what it was. The name Jason Mizell was just rambling and said something, and I said, wow, that's who we are. We're the LA Posse. And the LA Posse is Daryl Pierce and Dwayne Simon. It's a very good connection because, again, those are our guys. Bobcat, also being a younger dude, was in LA going through, you know, his growth spurts and things while we were in New York and producing Breeze and, you know, semi-working with LL. The music started to get redundant. It started sounding the same. The breaks were sounding the same. Dwayne was basically the mastermind in terms of drum programming, coming up with sounds, ideas. I would veto them or okay them, try to give input to enhance it and blah, blah, blah. And it just started getting stale. I was like, you know what? We need Bobcat out here. Why? Because Bobcat is a DJ. And Bobcat is an incredible DJ. Bobcat can make different sounds with scratches and cuts and things like that, and he has different ideas. And I think collectively together, Dwayne, you and Bobcat might be able to make beautiful music together. I go to Russell, I'm like, you know what, we need another guy out here. Russell was no. Finally, I kept bothering him, and he finally said, screw it. He comes in, he stays with you guys, he's on your bill, I'm not putting any more money out for it. All right, cool. We had a crib, we let him sleep on the couch, we'll feed him, give him some soap so we can bathe with and ensure he has hot water. What? It's what it is. So we get him to come out here. Not here, but New York. And it was a culture shock to him, just like it was for us. And we would go into the studio and, you know, we just try to get comfortable and so on and so forth. And we were working with Breeze. And Bobby at that time was going to be Breeze's DJ also, okay? So Russell and them were really talking serious about us going in the studio with LL. Well, the time finally came. I was at Def Jam in the office because we went to the office when we got up in the morning. A lot of people get up and go to work. When we got up in the morning, we went to Def Jam. And we would be sitting there at the fucking front door before anybody was there to even open the door. Drinking, well, our breakfast back then, because we didn't have no fucking money, was carrot cake and short dogs of Old English 800. Think of that, think of the nourishment in that shit. You hear me? Sometimes we get a little orange juice, but you gotta pour a little 8-ball in that. But anyway, we'd be sitting there. I remember Bill Adler and them would walk up, they're like, you guys are here again? We're like, where else are we gonna go? We don't know jack. We would get on the train and get lost. Oh man, it was crazy. But we knew how to get to Def Jam. So that's where we would go. Anyway, Russell says, Heidi says, Daryl, Russell wants to talk to you. Yeah, Rush, here, take this number. Call LL, tell him to meet you guys at the studio, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't know LL. We're thinking LL's a star, I can't call LL. I get the courage to call, his grandmother answers. Todd gets on the phone, I said, yo, you don't know me, my name is Daryl Pierce. Russel Simmons told me to call you, said for us to meet in the studio, whoop-de-whoop. He's like, all right, cool. So we get to the studio and we're sitting there, we're nervous. We're with Steve Vett and in walks LL. Presents, he's got his briefcase, rhymes everywhere. And it was, I wouldn't say there was tension, but it was uneasy because we didn't want to disappoint him. And he was already on his game, had just gotten off tour, voice was even still a little hoarse. So he was like, listen, let's just try to bang on some beats and see what we can do. So I was holding Bobcat back. I was like, just calm down, you know. Bobby was like, you know, we're going to the studio with LL. Should I wear my Louis Vuitton suit and should I wear my Turkish rope and should I? I was like, yeah, do what you want to do, but just calm down. It's okay, you know. We got to be cool like he's cool. Finally, I let Bob, you know, I'm not saying that I let Bob, but I was like, show him what you can do on the turntables. It was a rap. It was a rap. Cut Creator was his DJ. But after he saw Bob, and then when he put Rock the Bells on, it was LL Cool Jake is hard. Todd lit up. He became Todd. You know what I'm saying? We used to say, what should we call you? He was like, my name is Todd. You guys call me Todd. We're growing. We're building.